I see a lot of anti-Jewish statements on YouTube sometimes about various things, and I don't know. Sometimes it's true, right? I mean, nobody's perfect, right? You pick one thing out here. Usually I think it's like actually the game is the elitist, somebody elitist, and that are Jewish are no good. But a lot of Christians like that too. A lot of people walking around like they're pastor so and so, or pope so and so, or bishop so and so, or somebody in charge of Iran is over religious. They're full of it too. So I don't know. I don't like focusing on one people too much. I think that's a bunch of garbage. Actually, I find Jews to be more easy to get along with, to me, anyway. But actually, I find some of the most religious people that are crazy too are Christians. They're nuts. So, they take it too far. But I do have the tendency to agree that there's a lot of people I see in the major media that advise on financial matters are full of it. Jim Cramer's the number one guy you would think is totally full of it. Rubini, I don't really like that guy too much. I mean, I think he's a scammer too. He'll never tell you what's going on for real. He never will, and I know that because I've been around that area, and I don't want to say exactly, but I'm from the area, and it's not just because I'm from the area, but it's a little more to it than that. But he works with, he's a professor at, the Leonard Stern School of Business up there in New York, right? And, he supposedly predicted one thing. But, a lot of times when he got this big thing out there, he predicted the crash of this, or somebody predicted the crash of that. They only tell you, like, what they predicted right, and there's, like, about a dozen other things they predicted wrong. Peter Schiff is another one. I know I'm going to get in trouble for this one because I know Peter Schiff, I don't really like the guy. It's not like I don't like him. I know he screwed up a bunch of times. Actually, he had investor money that he told him to dump into euro and commodities like in early 2008. Like Mark Farber called this right. I'm going to get on with him a little bit though. Also about cherry picking things that people say because that's where they screw up too. Some people are just dumb. But the thing is with Peter Schiff, it's like a broken record. Buy gold, buy silver. I'd like to know when to buy gold and when to sell gold. And actually, the only one that actually told me some of that stuff right was Mark Farber. I've been picking up. Like when we had the height in August and September 6th, I think was the very high in 2011. He was saying it was a little high, and all the gold experts were saying, it's going to be at least 2,000. It went to like 1921. He didn't say that. He said the opposite. Peter Schiff says always buy gold, always buy commodities, always buy emerging markets, always buy, and actually, I remember one thing I saw an interview with one of his clients, and he was, I don't know, he had like $800,000, and it went down to like 300,000 inside of no time in 2008. Because he invested in all that stuff, the euro, and the euro crashed along with the commodities, right? And there is, let me put it this way, it's almost like there's a couple things going on in between here, but the euro and the commodities are not linked, but there's a chain of events that kind of make them linked. I'll put it that way. But, the euro crashed, the emerging markets crashed, the commodities crashed, and, Peter Schiff had him dump into it right at the height. Actually, right now, the Dow looks like it's too damn high, and the S&P. I don't give a shit. Actually, I'd be telling people, platinum looks low, right? Looks like it's getting killed. I tell, if somebody had a lot of money right now, I'd tell them, if you had a lot of cash sitting around, and you just made like in other words, you sold something for a capital gain. Before I would tell them to put in like the money in an index on the Dow or the S&P, that I would tell them to put it in platinum. I think that would actually be safer. It's because it's depressed. It might go down a little more if you could. I mean, the thing is, you're going to hold on to it for a little while too. Just like Jim Rogers, he don't ever pick the right bottom all the time, but he gets it low enough that when it springs back, it gets higher. That's nobody picks the absolute bottom every time, but Peter Schiff has been wrong a bunch of times, man. I just pick up on him. I don't, I think he's full of it. Actually, I realize that most people are full of it. But you know what? I find a lot of people that say brother in front of their name or pastor so-and-so in front of their name, and they're all Christian and holy. They're full of it. They're not Jewish. Okay? A lot of these Christians are all into this gold, silver stuff. And the people in, Islam, where it's like the money of God. I'm not thinking about it being the money of God. I'm thinking that there is going to be a panic into this metal. And it's actually going to be the middle class that panics into the metal. When this stuff goes up, like I've been saying this all along, you're not going to sell it to Wall Street sharks. Your beanie's not going to be up there, I better buy your freaking silver at 150, 200 an ounce. He ain't going to be buying it. It's going to be some other middle class. Actually, what's going to help it is all the people with pastor and brother and, all those jerks, you know what I mean? The Christians. And, the Christians that are into total fiat, like that's going to save your ass toilet paper, they're full of it too. They're all full of it. I'm just realizing that there's going to be a panic into the metal, and you just got to hold on and wait. There's other factors going on. Right now, I just explained about before in another video why, the commodities across the board are getting killed, But there could be other reasons why they're going to go up. They could change the whole scenario. It can totally change around. And then you'll have the, other people out in the woodwork. But now I want to point something out about Mark Faber. He doesn't tell you exactly what stocks he buys. This is where the people freaking cherry pick the stuff he says. That's what he's not even 100% right. I mean, the guy's never 100%. Nobody's 100% right. He's been more right than the rest of them. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I know I cherry picked out one statement he said that a lot of his Jewish businessmen friends have a lot of gold and stuff, and they're pretty heavily invested in those areas. And that's actually, I think, encouraged him to do more of it. He's afraid of a major catastrophic collapse in the financial system. That's mainly why he's got gold. It's not really like a speculative bet so much as it will in fact be a speculative bet if there's a collapse, because by what the hell would you go into? It would be, it would probably be a panic into gold. But that's when he'll be selling it, and he'll be buying it, the middle class. Right? I mean, all the little buyer, it's not going to be other Wall Street sharks. No Wall Street sharks, no guys on the top buy it that high. So, I mean, but actually, he points out some other stuff that he realizes that he doesn't like this, where the middle class is getting slammed so much. Because basically it's bad business for him and everybody else that's got a lot of money. Because, it could go back on him at some point in time. But I say something else. People cherry pick and they reinterpolate other things he says too much. Like if he says he was investing in Vietnam, does that mean he's investing in an index fund of the Vietnamese stock market? No. He's probably I would say he's researched whatever he's going to research. He doesn't, somebody like that isn't just going to invest in an index of the Chinese market or whatever. You avoid. It's always like this. Even when things are going down, there's other things going up. So you don't know if he made money or not. Now, if the average person could have interpolated that as saying, well, that means I got to go invest in the Chinese index fund of all their, all Asian stocks across the board, just see how it does in general. That's not necessarily what he did. He's put his money maybe in Asia someplace, but how do you know what companies he put his money into? You don't know. That's what I'm saying. People interpolate too much what this guy says, and they take a word and they think, well, it means this and it means that. Just like George Soros, he said, gold is the ultimate bubble. And people go, George Soros is against gold, but he bought GLD. This was like a couple of years ago. And they're interpreting this as like, that means he's lying and he bought it anyway. Maybe that's not what he's saying. Gold is going to be the ultimate bubble. That's what I think it is. And guys like Soros aren't going to be buying it on the high. Actually, it's all these holy Christian do-gooders. They're saving the middle class, are setting them up for the big fleecing in the long run. I shouldn't say that. I should just let them do it so I can make money. But that's what's going to happen. I don't have enough influence on YouTube to make a big change in the market, but that's what's going to happen. Right now, gold and silver is not like, well, I guess it's going down, so you're like, but it's when it goes up, it's probably going to hit another high in 2014. It's going to be the next peak, and in 2017 it's going to be the final peak. That's what I think is happening. And when it drops off the final peak, you know who's going to be holding the bag? Mostly the middle class. I ain't going to be holding that shit. But, you know, just like anything, you know, how many Jews are promoting Bitcoins? Max Kaiser, is he Jewish? I don't know, maybe. Brother John F., is he Jewish? Maybe. I don't know, man. Maybe he's a Christian, you know. That's probably what it is. He's a Christian, right? Lindsey Williams. I don't know. I think Lindsey Williams is like the Jim Cramer of the Christian world. That's all that shit is. I know, I feel, you know, I'm going to say, though, but like a lot of people that have a lot of money, they do have hard assets. They'll keep artwork and all this type of stuff like that. I remember, like, there was this one that had this, I'm probably going to look it up, because the document was emailed to me. It was like, I should probably look up what the hell it cost if I still have it someplace in my email. It was like rubies in a formation. I think it was like 100-something million or some shit. It was some crazy amount of number like that. And, you know, nobody knows they got it. I mean, did they like, oh, I better sell this so I can have some toilet paper? Actually, you know, when you have a lot of money, you don't keep most of your money in the toilet paper stuff. It's like in assets that are producing, you know, that's the problem with gold and silver. They don't churn you out more money. That's why real estate's probably a good investment sometimes. Not now, but it's probably getting in a bubble now again. But, you know, it's usually you want some kind of hard capital asset that produces more income. The problem with metals is they just sit there, you know. But, you know, they're going to play out. And just like we just had a downturn now, I just saw it because of the Chinese deleveraging everything from you know, the bank regulators. I just explained that in the last video. But don't interpret. I think the guy that's giving you a straight scoop is Mark Faber. Hey, I mean, I could point out something he done wrong, but I could point out a lot more shit he's done right. But then I also point out a lot more people misinterpret a lot of shit he says. They twist it around. You know? And just because I think he does the best, that don't mean he's 100% right. But, you know, actually, I don't trust Rubini. I definitely don't trust Jim Cramer. I don't trust Peter Schiff even. He's a gold bug, supposedly. I don't know. I think he's just a broker, to tell you the truth. You know, even Mark Faber, I know, like, you know, when he goes to unload his gold and there's this big panic out there, hey, you know, where's it going? He actually says he almost feels guilty about this. He doesn't feel right. He actually said this in a recent interview. It's probably true. You know, he made a lot of money by people making the wrong moves. So, hey, do what the hell you want. That's the way I look at it. I'm not going to give a shit because, you know, if I made a lot of money and it was like some ridiculous amount of money off of gold and silver, I just think back to all the naysayers that told me I was an idiot, and maybe I could be an idiot. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm not going to give a shit about, you know, people who made the wrong move, because basically they said I was wrong now. So, do what you want. That's the way I look at it.